Okay, let's go ahead and call the meeting to order at 3:05. And we'll start it off with the invocation by Ray Hiltz.
This week is a week that we honor our saints, and join with me in a prayer. And however you pray, if it's silently or however you do, please join me. Heavenly Father, let's thank everyone for what they have done in their past, even though they passed away now. Look after our council meeting today, that we make good decisions and give you information to take back to your areas. Thank you, Lord. Thank you once again. Amen.
And with that, I'd like to mention that Bridget Montgomery was an area rep that quite unexpectedly passed away about a week ago. And she will be severely missed because she did a wonderful job for her area as area rep. At this point in time, we're going to ask for approval of the meeting minutes from last month.
First.
Okay, Rufus Lalone made the motion.
I'll second.
Linda Pearson made the second. Any discussion? Hearing or seeing none. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passed. We now have treasurer's report.
I'm back here. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Good. We have $910.34 in the checking account as of September 30th, 2021. And I will expect a quarterly contribution from the village in the amount of $200 in the next few days.
Okay. The next item on the agenda says committee reports and that there's nothing for this month. However, I'm going to point fingers and identify Dennis Abeen back there because he was the newly appointed representative or chair for the security committee. Dennis, you have anything to say this month?
I do.
Okay, just a moment.
Your village security team has been established. Its members are Penny Black, Rufus Lalone, Bob McKenna, Keith Miller, Sue Shumway, Wayne Stubblesfield, Don Weber, and Dennis Abeen. We are in the process of creating the focus and guidelines for the team. Craig Glasser has already been sharing with the team his personal efforts in researching a way to maintain a more secure RV storage area. The team will present its focus, guidelines, and contact information to you at the December 6th council meeting.
Okay, at this point in time, Craig Spivey. Turn that one off, right?
All right. Good to see everybody today. Just to bring you up to date a little bit here, I'm going to throw a whole bunch of numbers at you. So I've got it over to Bryn here to copy this. So as far as our current census in independent living, we right now have 14 duplexes that are being refurbished right now. Of those, 12 of those are reserved. So we have 2 that we just got back that we're just starting to market. So very, very busy on that end. In the Ashwood Apartments, we have 7 that are vacant. However, we had this last week, we've had 3 of those reserved. And 1 will be moving in next week. So that's good news. But we still have 4 studio apartments that are vacant there. Yes?
No, I want to, Sarah, come on.
Oh, I thought you had a question there, Mel.
I didn't see it, I was like, already?
All right, okay. So, and we're anticipating, back to the duplexes, we're anticipating about 5 more duplexes coming back in the next couple of months. So Craig's maintenance and refurb team has been very busy. It's going to be very busy. Currently, we have 398 independent living residents right now. As far as marketing activity, what's going on, so this last month, staff conducted 18 independent living tours. We've done 188 tours this year, and which is more than all of 2020. So that's been good. We still have 2 months to go. Next 2 months, November and December, typically are down, as you can kind of imagine with the holidays. We usually don't do too many. So I thought it's significant that we've already done more than we did all of last year. We've had 58 applications for residency here, and we currently have 94 people on the active waiting list. This week, actually, we're starting production on a new video that will be an overview of Mennonite Village. This is a production that will be on replace our ones on our website and our social media. So we've got that going. And last month, we had a fairly large community event with the High Kings concert. We had 18 wonderful, outstanding residents help us out with that. We would not have pulled it off without you. And I know, Linda, you probably sold about $20,000 worth of merchandise there at the table. It was very, very busy. Rufus was at one of the doors. We had over 500 people at the concert, so that was good. And we got over 400 new leads for Mennonite Village, so that was nice. And the group has already asked us if they could come back next year, so we'll see. Okay, so I've been asked to talk a little bit about our marketing coordinator position. This came up from one of the area reps. So this position was posted several weeks ago. We actually closed it today. We've had several applications, and we're hoping to get that filled in the next couple of weeks here. So good. We had a good turnout of applications, so that was nice. Another thing that was asked about that was, what are the duties of this position? What exactly does the marketing coordinator do? Actually, I've kind of been thinking about if that's even the right name anymore for this kind of position, because marketing is a lot of outward marketing. This position has a lot of other details there, but all of the outbound and inbound marketing, they're heavily involved in. By that I mean, outbound marketing is reaching out to people in the community about Mennonite Village. It's being out at our events like Summer Sounds, we had a booth there. Albany Chamber, we had a booth. Alzheimer's Walk, we had a booth. So it's a lot of community outreach. But also, as far as inbound marketing, people that call in to Mennonite Village. Either they call, send an email off our web address. They want inquiries, they want information, so they handle that part as well. And of course, a big portion, as a lot of you know, a big portion of what they do is all of our campus tours, and where they take from people who first show interest here, all the way through to picking out their daycare choices, getting them moved in, and at that point then they're turned over to village administration. Well, you're not turned over, your file is. We don't actually move you. But, so that's the kind of the bulk or the major portion of what that position does there. So any questions about marketing or anything that's going on that could answer?
Is this a new position or?
No, this is a position filling a vacancy.
Who was the vacancy?
Oh, that was Chris Spellings.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's a big loss.
yeah.
Any other questions?
Where'd you advertise for it?
Where?
Yeah.
So we actually have a program that we use called Bird Dog. That it goes in Bird Dog. It goes out to all, like Indeed, Craigslist, LinkedIn, it goes to any number. We also advertise through social media, but it's on all of the major job boards. Indeed's probably the biggest one that we get a lot of input from. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, I guess Sarah?
Okay, Sarah Hoffman.
Oh,
Can you hear me? All right. So I am the volunteer coordinator, but there was a question about my move from here in the Wellness Center up to the administration hallway. The question was, is the volunteer program gone? Absolutely not. So I'm still the volunteer coordinator. That is part of my role in HR. So it was originally an HR role, and then it was split up when Robin moved into marketing down to wellness. And as HR grows and staffing and recruitment, we need more people to help in HR. So I have a very strong HR background, 18 years in HR. So they reached out and asked if that was something that I would be willing to do. And of course, absolutely. I'm a big people person, so I am 100% still the volunteer coordinator for the village. That is volunteer and community outreach coordinator, as well as HR. So we can have volunteers right now. That was one of the questions. So we can have volunteers. We just can't have them in Mennonite Home right now. So we have a lot of requirements through DHS with COVID, and they say nursing homes right now can't have volunteers, but everywhere else can. So I have flyers posted out here that anybody can pick up. The flyers are also in the new packets that the village greeter hands out, and they're also posted on school websites and various other locations to help draw in both community volunteers and our internal village volunteers. And you have to be 12 or older. If you're 16 and up, you do get a background check. That is a state requirement, and it's done every 2 years. And there are so many opportunities for you guys to volunteer. You can do arts and crafts with residents, one-on-one, special events, and the list goes on and on. And you are more than welcome to call me at any time that you want to. We can talk about it. The library is something I'm going to talk about next. That is also a volunteer position. So there's so many different things you guys can do. There's chaplaincy, there is Quail Run, where you can help in dining. You can help in dining in multiple locations with rolling silverware and things like that. The only thing you can't do is anything that's considered power equipment, because that is part of the state requirements, that we do not have volunteers touch power equipment, because you have to be specifically trained and you have to be an employee to do those kinds of things. Other than that, it's kind of an endless possibility of volunteer opportunities. So my phone number is still the same, and that is 541-704-1077. If you use the main line, it's extension 477. Or you can email me, and if you want my email address, just give me a holler and I'll give it to you. You do have to fill out an application, and the big one right now, because of the state temporary mandate, all volunteers must be vaccinated. So in order to be a volunteer on our campus, I will now check and verify and take a copy of everyone's vaccination card, just as if we would with an employee that comes on now. Does anybody have any questions so far? All right.
Over here.
Yeah.
Does that flyer list the same kind of information that will come on today's survey?
It does, and I have a copy if you want to pass it around. You're more than welcome to.
You have more of these out front, you said?
I do. I have a whole ton of them out front. I also have applications out front, and Alana has applications too, or I can email it to you. So trying to kind of get it in multiple locations. You can pick up an application right at that board, a flyer at that board, or up with Alana, or give me a holler, and I'll email one to you. Any other questions? Yeah,
Number D, resident photos.
I'm gonna get there.
Oh, you're not there yet.
No, do you want me to skip to that one first?
I don't care. Well, you talked about gift shop and library. Did you?
I haven't talked about the gift shop yet. You're ahead of me.
Please go ahead.
Okay. Gift shops, the Quill Run gift shop is open Monday through Friday from 10 to 3. And you guys are gonna see a constant contact come out soon, probably tomorrow, looking for volunteers to work in that gift shop. That you do have to be 18 or older, because you touch money. So 10 to 3, Monday through Friday. The Mennonite Home gift shop is currently closed because it is connected to the nursing home. So it's considered part of the nursing home, therefore we can't open it. But that changes all the time. We are constantly watching the restrictions, and hopefully soon, anything regarding the nursing home will be less restrictions, and we can start going over there, and we can open the gift shop. But until the DHS releases those kinds of restrictions to keep those residents safe, we cannot open that gift shop. And that's because it's Mennonite Home gift shop. But Quill Run is open. It has stamps. Someone asked me the other day, are we getting rid of stamps? No. We keep them fully stocked with stamps all the time, and then they always let me know if they need more. And then we do get like holiday ones, like I'm about to order Christmas. So anytime you need them, they're there. And right now, Brenda, the front desk, will get them for you, and then as soon as we have volunteers in there, they'll get those for you as well. Any questions on gift shop? I don't want to miss anybody. All right, now, the moment you've been waiting for. The pictures were removed due to privacy. And not because you guys can't see each other's pictures and your information. It's because this is a community space where members of the community were coming in, and it was found that that is a safety issue. So that had your guys' pictures on it, your location that you lived, things like that. And for your safety, they were removed and shredded. And that's because we had a lot of community members in here that could see your faces and get to know who you were. And we have to make sure you guys are protected. So they were all shredded, and we did have some residents that had passed on there as well, and we have to make sure that they're protected also. Did that answer the question on that? Does anybody have any questions for me?
Library,
Library is now open 24/7.
but our keys don't work.
Your key works.
I tried it yesterday.
Okay, I will, what?
My key is given to me, I moved in 6 years ago. You guys
It's-
changed the locks.
It's the same key, so I'll get a new one for you from Jennifer.
Okay, because mine won't work.
Okay, yeah, it's the same key. We just switched the locks back over about a month ago.
Okay.
So it was an older lock, a lock just to our own key, and now it's back to your guys' key. But if you don't have a key, Jennifer Newsom will get you a key. You just need to call her or email. She's back tomorrow, but I will personally email her for you.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I'll write it down on my list. But it's open, it is self-serve. So just as you guys self-temped when you came in here, you'll self-temp when you go in there, and you don't have to check them out anymore. So we had some books that were check in and then check out, and some that weren't. So we're going to kind of an honor system, where you can check in and check out books at your leisure by going in, picking a book, and keeping it as long as you like and returning it. There's a return bin. We follow all COVID protocols. There is a max occupancy of 8 in there. But again, it's 24/7, so you guys can use it at your leisure whenever you feel like it. The billiard table still is in there. And the billiards team has let me know that they only play a couple of times a week, but they're willing to adjust if people come in and don't want them to play. So if you go in there and they're playing and it's bothering you, just let them know they're okay with it. Other than that, it's open to you guys however you'd like to use it, of course with a mask, temping in, and all of those COVID protocols that we have to follow. Any other questions on the library? Volunteer program. Anything else?
Sarah,
Yeah.
can you clarify donations to the library? There are no donations to that?
There are no donations at this time because the library volunteers are getting trained. And then donations are going to go to 2 times a month. so that we don't overload, because it was starting to become a safety problem. There was like hundreds of books out there. Then they get wet, then people would trip on them. Some people would take them inside and they'd be all over the place. So we'll have designated days, designated times that everyone can come and donate. But right now, until they get their sea legs, no donations. The old committee has passed on the reins to the new volunteers that are learning right now. We have about 15 of them that are learning, so which is pretty awesome. One of them is Sue. Any other questions? I work Monday through Friday now. That is a change in my schedule, 8 to 4:30. So you can call me or email me anytime, especially if you have volunteer questions. And if you think of something that's not on that list that you think would be a great volunteer opportunity, we're constantly adding them. Like David Winstrom had a great idea for IT help, cell phones, iPads, etc. We added that. So if you come up with a really good idea, give me a holler, because we're always looking for good stuff. And we just start getting phone calls from the high school, so we'll start to see some high schoolers again, which is nice. All right, I'm gonna turn it over, but if you need me, you know where to find me.
Okay. Well, I've got a couple, well, not more than a couple, list of things to go over, so I'm gonna go ahead and go through these things, and then I'll take some questions afterwards. Hopefully I've explained it well enough. But the first one is garbage routes changing. So ever since I can remember, we've had garbage routes that the grounds goes around and they pick up at four times a week. We do different garbage routes. So what we're looking at is on Wednesday and Thursday, if you're on Davidson Street, Becker Circle, or Goldfinch Loop, we're looking to move those collection times to a Monday or a Tuesday pickup. And this is gonna do a couple things for us. We only have to do garbage twice a week, which is gonna be beneficial for our ground staff. Every day we have to load up our bins, get all the rounds done, and it's just we're trying to find some efficiencies here. If we're already out doing garbage, it makes sense to hit like a Davidson or a Becker Circle or a Goldfinch while we're already out in the vicinity. So what we're looking for is we're gonna be moving those times to a Monday or a Tuesday. So Davidson, we're gonna have you moved from a Wednesday to a Tuesday, and then Becker Circle and Goldfinch. No, I'm sorry. Becker Circle will move from Thursday to Monday, and then Goldfinch will move from a Thursday to a Monday as well. So basically, everything east of Ermine, including Ermine, is going to be picked up on Monday. And everything west of Ermine, not including Ermine, it will be picked up on Tuesday. That's our goal. And then Fridays will be recycle day. Yeah.
When does it take effect?
So we're going to be starting this on November 22nd. That'll be the first time. So we're going to be advertising this in the Village Update. We'll put some constant contacts out. Probably put it on Channel 981. Make sure everybody knows about it. That's the most important. And I understand that this is a change. We're all pretty routine when it comes to garbage. I know if my garbage day was changed, it'd take me a while to get used to this. So if you have your garbage, forget to put it out, you're on one of those streets, just put it in a work order and we'll work with you on it. So the other thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be starting a village recycling center. So this is something me and Jeff Parker, as we've been looking at our garbage routes and the recycle routes, just trying to figure out an easier way for you guys to be able to recycle. And so one of the things we're trying to do is set up a little recycle center so that if you have kind of some odd things. So, Paul's been going around and picking up styrofoam. If that's something that you would like to recycle, we could have a place to drop the styrofoam. I'm sure Paul would appreciate that. That way he doesn't have to go around and pick up all the styrofoam. The other thing is if you have, if there's a lot of recycling, you can actually just kind of put it in your car, take it down, your golf cart, wherever, take it down and you can recycle it. We're going to have an e-waste bin for like TVs or any kind of electronics. If we have electronics going in the trash, we can actually get fined by Republic Services. So we're just trying to figure out ways to make it easier on you, and then also be able to recycle a couple of those things. We're still gonna do our Friday recycle train, so you can leave out your recycle stuff on Fridays and we'll pick it up like we always do. But there's always, we already have some glass, some batteries. I think there's another item that I can't think of off the top of my head. So down by the ground shop, where the glass bin is and all that, that's where we're gonna be setting this up. We're gonna have a big sign that says Village Recycle Center. And so we'll try to get that location pinned down in the village update, and you can look for that in the village update, so.
Cardboard?
Hopefully cardboard. If it's not gonna be at the recycle center, it will be just right around the corner at the Quail Run, and we'll make sure it's where it's at now. We'll make sure there's plenty of signs and directions so everybody knows exactly where to go. So trying to make it a one-stop shop where you can just kind of dump all your recycle stuff off, so. Okay, next I wanted to just chat a little bit about leaves and gutters. So it is full tilt leaf season. Some of you might have seen our new leaf vacuum in action. We have a new leaf vacuum and I think it's saving a lot of time. We're blowing all the leaves out in the street and sucking it up with a leaf vacuum. One of the things that we're trying to get done is, gutters are starting to get full of leaves, and so cleaning out gutters, we're trying to get to that. And this is a constant fall problem. I personally, this last rainstorm, I didn't get out this weekend to do my own gutters, which that was a bad idea on my bad, but the rains are coming, and so what we want to do is, I think, everybody's there's leaves in everybody's gutter right now. There's a lot of work orders coming in about leaves and gutters, so I want to be mindful that if your gutters are overflowing, if water's spilling out, we don't want damage to the home, water kind of flowing back in and getting where it shouldn't be. If you actually have gutters that are overflowing, please put in a work order. If you put in a work order and it's not overflowing, we're gonna get to you. What we're trying to do is, as the different areas, I know like Foxglove right now, most of the leaves have fallen, and so we're trying to get through and cleaning out those gutters so that we don't have to clean it again. We don't want to clean them 3-4 times a year, so we're trying to hit them as we go through and get all the leaves picked up. And so, if you have a gutter that is completely plugged and overflowing, please put in a work order so we can get that addressed kind of immediately. So, the next item I have is temp screening. So we're trying to, with all of the COVID precautions, us as employees and those of you that came in today, hopefully you screened yourself for temperatures. What we're trying to get is a little device that would, basically it's a little pad that you would walk up to it and it would take your temperature. And you wouldn't have to touch anything, you just walk up to it, it would take your temperature, and then on we go. We're trying to get these installed around campus and all the care areas. Right now the front desk has to spend a lot of time temping people in, and trying to get all the logs figured out. We have to, this is a state requirement that we have to log everybody that comes into the building. So we're looking at these screening devices to save staff time for the front desk, and so that's going to be coming. I don't have an actual push out date as far as when it's coming, but we'll announce it at the village update. But we hope to have one here at Lakeside Center so that you can just walk up to it, and we'll have instructions and some different things like that so that we can get all that set up and away we go. So more to come on that. Wanted to give you a little bit of an update on the RV lot. Our RV group met this last Thursday and kind of gave an update of what security systems will be installed. So we're looking at a couple different security systems to be installed, and I hope to have those minutes out to the RV owners here pretty soon. And we're looking to add security because our lot's been broken into about 4 times this last summer, as you guys know. So trying to clean that up and working with the security group to kind of figure out, okay, what do we need to do to protect our campus, keep the bad guys out, and make sure that we protect our assets. So, and then one thing about the RV lot is we have asked that no motorhome, as of right now, with a catalytic converter is parked in the RV lot. So if there's a motorhome that's parked in the RV lot, that probably means they don't have it. There's a couple in there that they haven't been replaced yet. And so we parked a couple RVs down at the ground shop, kind of throughout campus and some of the visitor spots. This is not what we want as a permanent solution. This is a temporary solution. Until I can get a contractor to install some of those security systems and get that up and going, we're gonna park elsewhere so that we're not an easy target and keep getting hit over and over again. So hopefully, it's gonna take some time. Our contractors and then parts are the biggest concern. Everything is on back order, so we're trying to get that going as soon as we can, so. I had a question about water usage. Question was this: to encourage residents to have wise use of water in the village, can individual water meters be installed on the individual homes? So water on campus, we have city water that if you crack open your faucet, that's city water. So we are master metered on campus, and so we get master metered means that all our water comes through about 2 or 3 different water meters. So it's quite a big pipe, all that fun stuff. And then we distribute it throughout the campus. With this, if we were to we don't have meters at the houses, and so I was kind of doing some numbers of what that would cost if we wanted to add meters. If we wanted to add meters, we'd have to hire a plumber come in. I'm guessing it would be, and this probably is a low number because everything is going up, cost-wise. If it was to be, $300 to $500 per house, we have 300 units, and so we'd be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars to be able to get water meters installed. And so that hasn't been a really big deal for us as far as, investing that kind of money into just individual water meters. I think the concern for village residents is we want to make sure that the residents are responsible in their water usage, and so we don't want to waste water, which I totally understand. I think some of the other things that we've looked at and some things that we can look at that I've kind of learned being the facility director for a summer is some of the things that happen on campus. We irrigate out of our wells, and so all of our irrigation is done through our wells, through the lake, so we don't have to pay city water fees. And so that saves us a lot of money. I think one concern for residents is when a resident hooks up a hose to a hose bib, turns the hose on and sprinkles their lawn, then that's costing money. That's city water that's being broadcast onto your lawn. So I think one of the concerns is we had a hot summer, dry summer, and so we had some dead spots in the lawn. And so residents would take it upon themselves, hey, I'm gonna try to help out and try to water my lawn. I think in those kind of situations, putting in a work order is the best way. If our irrigation system isn't hitting everywhere, we definitely want to know about it just so that we can irrigate out of the lake and out of our wells, so we're not getting charged for city water. So it is, when you hook up, and I think I think most residents probably don't put the 2 and 2 together, or maybe they do, but hooking up to your hose bib on your house, that's actually hooking up to city water. So if we can not do that and be able to irrigate with the sprinklers, that would be the best. So we had a safety issue and a concern about wasting energy. So one of our healthcare center, Mennonite Home, we had some outdoor visitation centers set up in our Ashwood 1 carports. And what we did is for families to come visit their loved ones, it's an outdoor visitation. We got some curtains and kind of hung those up, and we put some infrared type heating systems in there just so it's not really, really cold in the winter times. And so it was noticed that heater was left on and the lights were left on. So we did find out about that, and we've already installed timers so that the heater can only be turned on for 30 minutes or so, and then it gets turned off. The lights also, just so we don't want to try to heat the outdoors with a heater like that. So that has been corrected. So. Next thing I have is the guest cottages. So the question was if the guest cottages are available for reservations right now, and they are not currently available. Right now, I think the biggest reason is we don't have the ability to clean for those reservations. I think the guest cottages they were closed some time ago, mostly because we didn't want to have, we were having a hard time finding appointments or filling appointments in the village housekeeping. So it didn't feel right for me and others that we have the guest cottages, but we can clean those, but we can't do residence homes. Now, we all know that village housekeeping has closed, and we don't have village housekeeping currently. And that's something I'm trying to address, how we can get housekeeping, and it's all on, it's staff. As soon as we can get our staffing levels up a little bit more. Our main focus right now is this building. We want Lakeside Center to be open for you guys to take your classes, do the aquatic center, the wellness center. And so our main focus right now is making sure that this building is cleaned. It didn't feel, we could choose to do the guest cottages, but for us, our priority is this building so that we can keep up the activities and all the things that we have for residents. A couple of questions about, we are remodeling. We've taken this time and we're remodeling the guest cottages. So we've remodeled 2 of the guest cottages, updated the flooring, the paint. I think it's probably 20 plus years old, some of this stuff. And so we updated some of the flooring, paint, that kind of stuff, some of the furniture. So we've updated 2 of the rooms. We still have 1 more to go. That room, I'm not sure when the timeline is going to be done on that. That's kind of gone to the back burner a little bit, but we will be getting that remodeled and open eventually. If you have, I know in the village update there was just a little blurb about the guest cottages. I know the Thanksgiving, Christmas is coming around the corner, and family are going to be looking for a place to stay if they can't stay with you. And so there are a couple places on our village update that we actually have gotten discounts, so you can get discounts through a couple different local hotels that will give you a discount if you're a Mennonite Village resident. So look at that village update, and if you have any questions, you can contact Jennifer on that. So, all right, I think I have my last one. Housekeeping services. So for this building, Jennifer Knudsen and Troy, I forget Troy's last name, Maddox. They've been stepping up for probably about the last 3 or 4 months, cleaning this building. So the aquatic center, they've been doing a lot of work in the aquatic center to keep the aquatic center open. And so we've been trying really, really hard they're already doing a full-time job, and so they said, we'll step up and we'll do a couple hours a week and be able to clean that so we can open this up for residents. And so our goal has been to kind of relieve them of that. And so since Village Housekeeping has closed and we have, we're focusing on Ashwood 2, and then we have some time, we're having housekeeping take care of this building. They've been helping out here and there, but my goal is as we get staffing levels up, we're going to get this building finished up. And our intention is to one day, hopefully sooner rather than later, is to get us back up and going in the village to have village housekeeping. But our primary focus is we've got to get the common spaces dealt with so that we can clean and operate so that we're not having different people fill in and try to get things clean that way. So they've been doing that. We have relieved them of those duties, and so housekeeping staff are cleaning this building. And some residents have kind of questioned, what's our priorities? What are we going to, not clean, or what are we going to discontinue or not provide cleaning for versus what are we going to provide cleaning for? And I think the guest cottage is kind of a great example of that. Is we're gonna choose not to do the guest cottages because it does take a lot of time to keep that program up and going. But we're gonna focus in on this building, and that's kind of our priorities. I wish we didn't have to make those priorities, honestly. It kills me that we have to prioritize those types of things, but we will. And we've been faced with, I would say on almost a weekly basis for the last month or two of having to choose a priority. And so I hope that we can get back to not having to make priorities. That would be my choice, and I think your choice too. But as of right now, those are kind of some priorities. We want to make sure that this building that gets utilized every single day gets cleaned, and some of those common spaces that we have to keep cleaned get done. So that's kind of just a little update for you guys, and that. So I wanted to address a question, Barbara, I think you had it last Village Council, a question about village housekeeping closing and residents being able to hire those village housekeepers if they were wanting to help out some residents. If village residents could hire those Mennonite Village employees after hours to help clean their house. And our policy states that as long as it's a service that we don't provide, which village housekeeping would not be a service that we provide right now, those staff members could do that work after hours. I think the biggest thing it's not really a caution, but it's just a comment. These housekeepers, we have 3 that have chosen to stick with us, and they're working full-time hours. And so my concern is just, staff burnout. I know it's tough. There's a lot of people that want village housekeeping. And if they choose to, if those staff members choose to want to do that, then it is permissible. Obviously, we don't want our staff burned out, and that's probably the biggest thing that we'd be concerned about. So, but as of now, that kind of clarifies a little bit of that question last month. So I think that's all I have to say. I've talked a lot, but I'm sure there's some questions. So yeah, Lillian.
I have a question about the guest cottages. Are you updating the beds as well?
Yes, we are.
Thank you.
She asked if the beds in the guest cottages were being updated, and yes, I believe they are. Yes, they needed it.
Yeah.
Any other questions as far as facilities? Yeah.
I just have a statement. We went for a walk a couple hours ago, and there were 2 outside contractor people cleaning homes back at the back end, 2 different businesses.
Yeah, so there's been a couple different contractors as far as housekeeping that are kind of frequenting. And if anybody needs that contact information, I do have both of those contacts for those 2 companies. And if there is, I want to help residents if they're having a hard time still trying to find people to come in and clean. I want to help. So if there's people that need contacts, let me know. Any other questions about any of the stuff I covered? All right, I will pass it on.
Goodness. First, I just wanted to tell you why Sue isn't here. I talked with her this morning and she gave me permission to tell you. Her husband had a fall this weekend and he hit his head, and he's okay. But Sue just felt like, when you hit your head on concrete, she just wanted to stay home with him one more day. So she said she will gladly accept any prayers and well wishes. And her son's name is Ken, just so you can add that to your list. I do want to let you know that in December, Cliff, our CFO, is going to be attending resident council. So some of the very specific budget questions, we decided to wait until December because I think there's going to be many more questions for Cliff. So if budget questions come to your mind now, please start jotting them down and giving them to Sue in advance. But Cliff plans to go over the Mennonite Village budget next month. I also wanted to let you know that this probably seems like an awful time to do this, but we're going to do it anyway. There hasn't been a resident engagement survey at Mennonite Village since 2014. And I think we can do better than that. Best practice, usually communities do them every other year, sometimes once every 3 years. But the intent of the engagement survey is for you to help us identify the areas of weakness and the areas of strength. So I know now during COVID, there's some disappointment and frustration. It is what it is, but we want to move forward with that. I don't know for sure when in December these surveys are going to be going out, but we will be communicating with you. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. And the survey will be for all residents on campus. So the residents in memory care who would not be able to answer questions, their responsible party will receive the information and they'll be able to answer on behalf of the residents. So an idea for all of you, this kind of feels like a mini town hall, and it's awfully good to be back in this room, but when are we gonna have a town hall again? I don't know. So I thought that I've talked to Sue about this a couple of times, and I told her I wanted to just throw it out to all of you today. At your area meetings, if it would be helpful for you to invite any of the leadership to come and talk to your group, we are really more than happy to do that. Just know that we probably need to know several weeks or months in advance because there are a lot of meetings and such on this campus, but perhaps that would be beneficial to all of you. So by leadership, all of the people that are talking, Cliff, our CFO, Melinda, who is now Director of Dining, any of the care administrators, they would really welcome an opportunity to come in and just address any questions at your area meetings. So I do have a list of questions. One of them, this is kind of a budget question, but I told Cliff I felt comfortable answering this. The question, and I don't have it verbatim, but the concern or question was, are the care areas in the black or are they in the red? All of the care areas, that's a hard word to say, all of the care areas are in the black except for the Mennonite home. And the Mennonite home has been hit most, I guess, just the strongest impact with COVID and the lack of staff, which limits our admissions, etc. But we were given one of those wonderful loans from the federal government that really helped float the Mennonite home during 2020. And we did find out a few months ago that that loan is in fact going to be forgiven, so we don't have to repay it. But I do want you to know that every other area on campus is doing well in spite of our difficulties and challenges with COVID. Just want to throw out a number to you. Any guesses on how much Mennonite Village has paid for our COVID testing? Just any number.
$1 million?
It is really close to $1 million now. $1 million. So far, the state of Oregon has reimbursed about 700,000 of that million, but they haven't reimbursed all of it yet. But when you look at costs like that, it is kind of mind-boggling. The Wellness Center, there was a question about, and again, I know it's because you all are missing interacting with each other, but just that ongoing frustration of why do things have to be limited? Why do we have to be screened before we come in and use the Wellness Center? Sarah referenced DHS about volunteers. Well, DHS gets to give direction for senior living communities, and the Wellness Center is considered part of that. So the screening and things that we have to do, it's not because we sit in our office and think this would be a fun thing to do with the residents today. It's a requirement, and I hope that we can get those tablets that Craig talked about sooner than later. I visited my mother-in-law down in Eugene a couple of weekends ago, and her facility has that same device, and it was awesome. We were able to check in and get our temperatures read, and the receptionist didn't have to interact with us at all. So she was happy and we were happy. The employee COVID vaccinations. So I am so happy to tell you that our average now on campus is just a little over 80%, 80%. 0. Maybe that doesn't seem like a big deal, but compared to where we were months ago at 60%, I am celebrating. So the 20% that were not fully vaccinated, they've all had to go through they've either requested a medical or a religious exemption, and that has to be approved in order for them to be here. There was a specific question about how many staff have we lost because of the mandate. I don't really know. Since the mandate was announced back in August, we've had multiple staff that maybe have chosen to retire early. They've left for another line of work. Is it because of the COVID mandate? Maybe. I'm only aware of 2 staff that had to be terminated because they didn't choose to get vaccinated, and they didn't choose to go through the process of requesting a religious or medical exemption. And then there was a question about the staff loss plan due to the mandate. Yes. We currently have a contract with 6 agencies, and those agencies provide licensed caregivers. And so Lydia's House, Mennonite Home, and Quail Run would be able to contact those agencies, and they still can't fill our positions. I don't tell you that to scare you. I'm just trying to explain the severity of the situation. So we've got leadership team members that are working on the floor. Just like with housekeeping, we have to prioritize, sometimes within the care areas, what is the most essential thing that has to be done to keep the residents safe, because that is the most important thing. And then what other things can maybe we revise a little bit that hopefully won't have a negative impact. Last week was the first week in a long time that I was able to tell you that we had no positive COVID tests. I was so happy to share that. And I don't know if you all know that when there is a positive in any of the care areas, that means that the residents that live in those care areas can't have any visitors inside the building unless it's for a compassion visit, which essentially means end-of-life visits. So the visiting stations at Ashwood 2 or 1, that's why those were designed for the Mennonite Home, because visitors can't come inside the building, and we are not going to make a resident in a wheelchair just go and be out in the cold parking lot. So I think it's really wearing on all of us, and I so badly want to think that maybe we've turned the corner, but I thought that back in July. So we'll just keep going on, but my toes are crossed, I promise you. The long-range plans for development and involvement input from the residents. And I understand there's some frustration that we haven't had more communication about this. I'm frustrated too. The entire master planning process, it kind of got put on hold for probably 6 months or so as we were just trying to navigate what COVID meant. And then the consultant, his name is Dennis Russell, who is a wonderful person, and he's been involved with Mennonite Village. Dennis decided to retire. And so then we needed to reach out now to a new group, and they're called Baker Tilly, and they're based out of Pennsylvania. They're the organization that did the, resident, what exactly do they call that survey, Craig?
Oh, the consumer research?
The consumer research. Did any of you participate in that?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Barbara. That was one of the solutions we talked about, because we had this great ideas that we were going to have ideas and plans up on the walls in Lakeside Center. Well, we couldn't do that because of COVID. And so it's like, well, let's do this consumer research. And often communities do it just for the folks on the wait list. And we decided, no, we want to do it for our residents too, because we think it's really important to hear what all of you want, as well as what the consumers in the future will want. And so next Monday, I'm doing a Zoom meeting with the woman that coordinated the whole process, and I've asked her to put together information that will do a comparison So the residents of Mennonite Village can see what residents wanted and what future prospects wanted. And I'm really glad we did that because there was a lot of helpful information in that survey that talks about what kind of a living unit people want, how many bedrooms they want, how many bathrooms they want. And those things are really important to us. So I don't know for sure how we're going to share that information with you. Based on the format, I'll talk with Sue and we'll figure out how to share it with the villagers, but you definitely need to see that. But I will tell you all of the information that was gathered in the listening groups, that's all been given to Baker Tilly. They understand how important green space is to us. They understand the importance of keeping Mennonite Village feeling like it's a community and not a huge organization. So more to come on that. And then let's see, last but not least, the Mennonite home bed. And I think maybe, if I understood the question correctly, perhaps a resident was just wondering how does that bed get paid? All of you probably remember in your contracts, you were all given a week of care at no additional charge each calendar year. And so the way Mennonite Village has chosen to cover that cost is there's an allocation annually that pays for a bed in the Mennonite home all year long. Sometimes there are 2 or 3 villagers in the Mennonite home. Sometimes there aren't any. Sometimes there's just 1. But we don't have a system that we're tracking, like if there were 4 residents this month and 2 last month, we just simply do 1 bed each year. So if you have more specific questions about that, Cliff can answer those for you next month. And I just wanted to say one quick thing about housekeeping, is that okay? So I just want you to know that housekeepers aren't coming into administrative offices. We all said nope. If residents can't get their houses cleaned, we are capable of removing our own garbage. The dust is pretty thick in my office, so I better get right on that. But I just think it's important for you to know that we are trying to make those sacrifices too. This is not easy, and like Craig said, as soon as things begin to stabilize, restoring the housekeeping for the villagers will be one of our priorities. So if you have a grandchild or friend who needs a job, we've got several open positions. So any questions? Okay.
Thanks, Donna. And to let you know, if I can put you on the spot, Donna, it was requested, and I believe Donna has agreed to participate, or at least attend, that's the better word. Donna has agreed to attend the village council meetings as much as she possibly can, allowing her schedule. All right, so thank you, Donna.
I will be here.
Yeah. Okay, we're moving on to old business, which is last month was the election of area reps. If any area has had an election since last month's council meeting, please turn in the results of your election to Jennifer Knudsen so she can get the roster up to date. And I know with Bridget's area, she was probably re-elected as area rep, but we need to know who is going to now be the area rep with Bridget's passing. All right. And also on the new area reps, and this also includes any area rep that has been re-elected. We're going to give you the title of the new area rep for your area. Jennifer Knudsen and I are going to have an area rep training program in December. We'll be getting the word out on that. And I wish I could say it is mandatory, you must be there. But because I'm not in the Marine Corps anymore and you're not in the Marine Corps, I can't do that. But please, please, please attend that meeting because we're going to be talking about a lot of the stuff that really impacts what it means to be an area rep and the new stuff that has been put into the bylaws, etc. Okay, we're now on to new business, and the new business is the election of council officers. And at this point in time, I am going to relinquish my chair and turn it over to Ray Hiltz.
Last month, we introduced the candidates, and anyway, the nominating committee met, had talked with a lot of people as far as the offices, and so anyway, the nominating committee finally decided on, and on your chair you were given a ballot. President Mel Huffman will still stay as president. Vice president, we have two people that you need to vote on. One of them is Tim Sissel, and the other one is Susan Van Orman. Secretary is Debbie Weber. Treasurer is Bryn Coop, and I would continue as on the administrative level. So if you would, mark your ballot with an X, and the important area is a vice president, mark either Tim or Suzanne. And then, yes, Shirley.
Who votes?
Oh, you would vote area 20, and I would vote area 19.
Area reps.
Oh, area reps are the only one that can vote, or if the area rep is not here, then designate.
There are ballots around here.
Yes,
Well, that's because these areas are not here.
yeah, so,
Those votes are basically lost.
Make sure we pick them up too so that they don't get.
oh, yes, we'll pick them up so someone doesn't double vote. Thank you. Sarah?
Yeah.
I did ask you when you were waiting, would you be able to vote with Donna?
Mail-in ballots.
And count them? Good.
Yeah.
Honesty check, how many of you got 2 ballots? Also, if it's a husband-wife team, only one of you get to vote. Husbands, I know who that's going to be.
Question now.
Yes,
I'm assuming that because we're on the board, we are eligible to vote as well.
Yes, you are.
You didn't follow
Yes.
the instructions, well, it says use the paper.
okay, oh, yeah.
Oh,
Someone got a hat?
Where's your cowboy hat? That's right. Get your real hat.
Did you say like that?
There is one thing
Yeah, I wore it all day.
that we will have to do, and that is over on the left-hand, it's on your right-hand side. There's a bucket over there with cleaning material, so please wipe down your chair before you leave.
Hey, Ray, can I butt in for a second?
Yes, you may, Sarah.
You keep that in your hand, I can speak loud enough. I'm used to talking to large buildings.
What?
I want to add in one more thing. There is something kind of neat that we're doing. The entire leadership team and the entire administration building have taken on roles to help in all care areas in non-certified positions. So where we have issues with staffing or people that are out getting vaccinated with the new mandates, everyone in leadership roles and the administration building are taking on non-certified roles. Cleaning, making beds, serving dinner, breakfast, lunch, staying late to get them in bed, dressing, washing laundry, combing hair, all of those things have been taken on by all of the leadership team and the administration building. So if there are any kind of care that is needed we're all stepping into those roles. So I just want to make sure that we threw that out there so you guys know that we have secondary and tertiary plans in place for all of those kinds of things.
Well, I would just like to thank everyone for this is a very unusual situation for all of us. It produces anxieties, it produces some outbursts, but we all need to be aware that this is a tough time. And I do want to appreciate all of the staff, and I especially love my people who come and clean my house for me. I do appreciate them. So I just want all the staff to recognize that we do appreciate what you're doing for us, and thank you, thank you, thank you. And I especially love Cliff.
We love Chris too.
Okay, well,
While the ballots are being tallied up here, let's go, oh,
Cookies.
oh yeah, we've got the cookies and everything to sweeten you up before you go home. But at this point in time, while those are being counted, let's go over to the area reps' questions and comments. We'll start over here and work our way around.
Thank you, Mel. One of our residents asked, it's a dog question. She said that she's kind of being harassed by folks because she walks her dog and the dog uses the lawns. Now, they know about picking up the hard waste, but the liquid waste, there's big fights going on about dogs peeing on the lawns. So my answer to her was that most of the larger lawns are community lawns, and as long as you clean up the messes, there's really not a whole lot that can be said. But if it's a small area by the house where the landscaping is, that's obviously your personal property in a way. But there's some places where there's one of those landscape areas that's out by the road. Some of them have benches, some of them have the exercise signs. So is that one of those community areas? So what they would request is that management would send something out, an update, to clarify that when you walk your dog, you don't have to carry the urine around with you as well.
Yeah, that had been an issue a couple of years ago, and to the best of my recollection, the results were put out that if it's not your property or it's not your home, keep the dogs off of other people's property. In other words, don't piss in somebody else's yard. I know that there are some, I know, and I know that there are some animals that aren't going to go on the concrete. And in fact, I know some residents wouldn't like it to go on the concrete, but, so that's where we're at right now.
So be sure they put something in a...
This time of year, you take away the porta potty by the garden. And last year, there was a porta potty at the end of 47th by the end of 47, and we all use that. Is there any way that this year, when you take away the porta potty, that you could put it down by the end of the hill?
So question was, is if we could move the porta potty, so the garden, we move the porta potty out of the garden because it floods down there and we don't want a floating porta potty. And so the question is if we could move that porta potty to the end of 47th, is that correct?
Yes, because last year when you did that, we all used it.
Sure.
They were working there, and there was one there,
Yeah.
and we all used it.
Okay. Yeah, let me, my biggest thing is to get the porta potty out of the garden. The other question would be, do we want a porta potty in a residential space? The garden's one thing, but if it's right next to my house, I need to think that through a little bit.
Yeah, there was a lot of residents out there, I'm in 27, that did not like that porta potty being there. And then when it blew over in the store, they finally removed it. Because it blew over in a windstorm one time.
Also, the homeless people drove in from out here and used it last month. And it was out there originally for the construction crew on Ivy.
Yeah.
That's when it was there.
The reason that it was out there last year is because of the construction happening out at Ivy. So let me ponder on that and let me see what we can come up with. I get that we need another facility out that direction,
But
so.
don't we have the pavilion?
We do have the pavilion,
Each
but
side they're talking about.
yeah.
As far as the dogs being able to pee on lawns, as far as I know, there has never been a village mandate that said they couldn't do that. I believe that I read someplace that they could pee on their lawns and on the bushes that the village puts in, but not on their personal gardens, on their little flowers, on their own personal. Yes?
Some people have planted their own personal shrubs and flowers in the area in front of their homes. And these people get really upset when somebody's dog comes by and pees on their flowers, or even on the grass in their lawn. Some people put up signs, no pee here, please. So I think the rules should be advertised to people. There's a lot of public green spaces, but it's not your lawn in front of your house. Don't let your dog stop peeing.
I think common courtesy is also another thing that we can remind everybody is, treat it as your own lawn. If your dog goes number 2, make sure you get it picked up.
Yeah, that's not the problem.
That's a big thing, but if your dog has to pee, then yeah, try to use spaces that are.
Yeah, but I don't even have a dog, so I'm not in the fight. But I'm saying that you got to put it in a publication somehow and get the word out, because there's too many people telling everybody different things. Mel says one thing, somebody says something else, and us area reps are stuck in the middle, and we look like we're not doing our job because you guys can't give an answer. So give an answer and put it in writing and stick with it. That's what you have to do. No matter whether you like it or not, just stick with it, and people can deal with it. But if it changes every 3 or 4 days, it's very irritating. I don't have a dog. I never had one in my life, but they're all coming to me, and I don't want to mess with this dog stuff. Was it bad enough a few months ago? I don't want to mess with it.
Okay, thanks, Rufus.
I know, Bruce, I had 2 or 3 people.
We used to have a saying in Head Start, if it's not on paper, it doesn't exist.
Exactly. Yep. Well, you didn't document it, it didn't happen.
One of our residents in Area 3 has a question about the COVID vaccination boosters. Is there any possibility you'll be having a clinic here for those?
So the question was about the COVID vaccine boosters. Right now, we have not been able to coordinate that with the pharmacy that serves the care areas. I know that Sue had reached out to Lynn County to see if they might have availability, and that they said that could be a possibility. But I will tell you, I did mine recently at Walgreens, just went to the vaccine.gov website. It's just vaccine.gov, and it lists all of the pharmacies within like a 25-mile radius that have a vaccine available.
Okay. My residents are confused about correlating the wellness center hours and the Albany school schedule of inclement weather. They go, what? That was in the last update that we're basing wellness center. I got several questions about that. I don't need an answer right now if you don't know, but I would like an answer on that.
So real quick, just to make sure I understand the question, it was for
Snow days.
Was it for the closure for the snow days?
Yeah.
So how it correlates to the Albany Public Schools, is that?
I think what they want to know, they're thinking they're going to have to contact the school district to find out, but you're going to be sending out a notice, I hope, if something's closed.
So if we have to close something, we're going to be sending out notes, we'll make sure things go out. What we follow is the Albany Public School District. Basically, if they call a snow day, we're going to call a snow day. We just follow their suit. So if, you
But you would let them know
yes,
individually.
we'll send out
that's good.
contacts, yeah.
The other thing I just wanted to say is that there is not a council meeting on Wednesday. That is in the calendar, but
That was
that's
a misprint in the calendar that came out with the
Okay, misprint on the calendar for.
Well, at least we know one person that's read the newsletter.
On the boosters, starting today, Safeway and Lynn County both, you have to have an appointment. I don't know about the other pharmacies.
Costco too.
And Costco also? Okay.
The vaccine.gov website, you do have to make an appointment, and they were like in 15-minute increments.
The other announcement, Bridget's service will be this Saturday at 11 o'clock at the Presbyterian Church downtown. That's the church behind the courthouse.
Okay, right back. Okay.
One of my neighbors is very concerned about caregivers and people needing it. Is there a process if someone finds that they really need some special help, that who to contact and how to get it?
So I'm assuming you mean if it's a villager?
Yes.
So if any villagers are struggling, I would ask that you please contact Sue Curry or Jennifer. They do have a list of some of the agencies that we know other residents on campus are using. The intent isn't to let somebody be out in the village and be suffering or be afraid. So please do contact Sue or Jennifer.
Okay, thank you. Is there going to be a memorial event in the next few months? This was to honor the people who've died from the village. And some of my neighbors were part of that in the past and would hope that it comes up again.
The service of remembrance. You know, I honestly have to tell you, I don't know what they've been doing with COVID, but I will ask Byron, and then Sue can put something in the village update, because that is an incredibly special event. I agree with you. Can you ask about that, Sarah? Thank you.
And we recognize that there have been a number of trees cut down, and this resident would like to have 2 planted for each tree that's removed.
Answer that one simple, Greg. Ain't happening.
Okay, we've had a very busy area. I had 3 pages of letters, Kim. Most of the questions you guys have answered very well, thank you very much, but these just came in recently. Invisible pedestrians and bicyclists. If you're going to be out walking on the daylight savings time ends next Sunday, please don't just wear a brown or black jacket. Wear something that's reflective. I bicycle in the morning at 7:15, and some people are out there walking and they don't have any jacket colors on. They don't have a flashlight. Some people have headlamps, which is good. And I had 3 people complain about people out there walking the streets when it's dark or dusk, and they're driving down the street and don't see them because there's no reflection on their apparel. So area reps, please encourage, demand, you have to. People wear a reflective vest. You get a little vest to put over your jacket. And it's really easy, really inexpensive.
They're like $1.
They're $1 and they're very easy to find, and take a flashlight so people know who you are. So that was one thing. That was about the dogs on the lawn. Also, we have some bicyclists that don't understand that bicyclists follow road rules of cars. That means you're supposed to be on the right side of the road when you're bicycling, not the left side. Please tell your area residents that bicycling has to be on the same side as cars, not, you go with the traffic, not against it. And somebody almost got run over today. They had a, what was it, recliner bike? What do you call those bikes? Recumbent bike. And they were on the wrong side of the road, and there was a bush there, and the car came around, and they didn't see them until the last moment. So, as a bicyclist, I have a flashing tail light, I have a headlight, I wear reflective gear, so people can see me, even if it's during the daytime. I have those things on. So, I'm encouraging everybody who's out walking their dog, going for a walk themselves, on a bicycle, whatever, in your walker, anything. Have reflective gear on for the dark weather, morning or night, and so we can see you, the cars can see you. And I think that's about it.
I can, just a minute, Suzanne. I can speak from personal experience about the woman on the recumbent bicycle. I was coming down 47th, getting ready to turn on Jasmine, and something caught my eye. and I slammed on the brakes because I was just about ready to run over her and her dog because she was in the left lane behind a bush. And she looked at me like I was the one that was doing the violation.
Doesn't she have a big flag on it though?
If it's behind a bush, you can't see it.
Not reflective.
Okay, one more question and then we'll go to the results and hopefully be out of here by 4:30.
Well, actually, it's not a question, it's just a reminder that the mileage rate in the village is 15 miles.
Yeah, but if you're on a bicycle and a vehicle runs over you, guess who loses?
Well, that's true, but I.
Now, the fine, the ticket's gonna go to the driver, but the bicyclist isn't gonna come out of it in a very good condition either. Okay, Ray, over to you.
Okay, next year's officers. President Mel Huffman. Vice President Tim Sissel. Secretary Debbie Weber. Treasurer Bryn Koo. And 2 administrators will be me. So thank you. And next year, I don't know, maybe it's Mel or me again to be on the chair of the nominating committee. So please look at next year of running so some of us don't have to do a second or third year. So it's a fairly easy job. I've had fun the last 3 years. So anyway, make sure you wipe down your chairs, and then I think it's back to you.
Okay, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Where's the cleaning equipment for the chairs?
Right here, there's a bucket right over here, so that all you have to do is just pull it right out, wipe it down, and throw it in the garbage.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, Luann Abeen made the motion to adjourn. Do I hear a second? Susan Shumway seconded the motion. Any opposed? All in favor? We're out of here.